And we are live. Hello and welcome to Developer Insights. I'm David.
And I'm Justin.
And together we're the leads on game development and design here at Codename.
And not only that, but we also founded Codename.
We're going to be your hosts for this episode and for every episode.
Because when we're not here, the show doesn't happen.
It's still holding up.
Today is our 101st episode.
101st?
Yeah.
And to celebrate this wonderful milestone, I've created a new overlay for the stream.
Oh, so shiny. Is that all we have today?
Of course not. In honor of this prestigious? Can you say both?
Pronounce it how you'd like.
All right, episode number. I've also procured a certain number of Dalmatians that will be appearing on the stream.
Wow, but how are we going to fit 101 Dalmatians on this tiny little view screen?
Oh, I mean, I assumed that I'd just wear it.
Oh, my.
What?
I'm going to have to call PETA.
Whoa. Anyway, we're here to answer your development and design questions about Idle Champions. Hey, wait, don't you normally say this bit?
If you don't have any questions, however, you may have to suffer through David's one-man reenactment. Yes, David's one-man reenactment. We're switching it up. His one-man reenactment of the Disney classic, 101 Dalmatians.
I didn't agree to this.
It'll be great. You've already got the coat.
Nope, no way. Sorry, not doing it. Not prepared for that.
I tried, folks.
Okay. Anyway, as always, we have pulled forward some questions from the previous show that we did not get to. Did we not? There were questions from the previous show we didn't get to?
There were several, actually.
Okay, because I feel like we did a lot on the last show. But before we get to those, we do have some updates on items that have been flagged to get looked at by the dev team. So without further stalling for time, let's get started with those.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I do have a few items here, actually, that I know Mark got in. Either they are in the current build or they are waiting to get built, but they are done. And that includes preventing a kicked player from just rejoining the Trials lobby. If you kick a player from the Trials lobby now, I think there's a 5-minute cooldown on them being able to join again. And it also lists who's been kicked and shows what their cooldown is. So Mark overdid that just a little bit, but it's in. There is a second exclamation point that is on the adventure party display to show if that party or if a party is at the designated goal. We did add an option to sort by slot to the blacksmith contract screen, and you can track achievements in the quest tracker now. I thought there's something else too. I think it was, I don't see it listed here, but I know Mark said he had added the ability to sort the shop by price. Okay, there's also some in-progress items here that are not yet completed, and that includes making it so that season champions do not appear in the free time gate choice, ordering the favor display, not just to be ID order. You're going to do a little bit more UI redesign on that, placing the current day listed on the seasons dialog, adding a tooltip to potions so you can see what is active without going into the potions display, adding a recall from Recall currently misses familiars that are on the potion display, so we need to put in a fix for that. Adding a timer to the current run, so like when you're doing a reset, you can see how long your current run had been, and adding a larger closed region to the X buttons, specifically for mobile on Dialog, such as the Trials and the Modron, because there were some reports that on certain phones, especially with the curved screens, that they could not click those. So larger displays for that.
Apparently, they're saying when you're talking, there's some weird volume issues. They're asking if your mic is sprinting circles around the room. That's strange.
Okay.
Anyway, I guess while
we'll just have to
you just
pay attention.
Turn it off and turn it back on again. That'll work. Before we get into some questions, though, I think we've got one announcement. And this is me kind of getting out in front of marketing for some reason and giving you some spoilers about Season 6, because I already see a bunch of questions about Season 6. And so I figured we'd give you a little bit of a spoiler, and then we can answer some questions about them, about some of these things as well in this episode, rather than waiting for them to be live and get them next episode.
Okay, and just as a note, I turned the volume down a little bit there. We could have been peaking, so let us know if that sounds better.
Yeah, maybe when I was turning towards you, it was like it was picking up on mine, or something. I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
Anyway, so some Season 6 spoilers. We wanted to let you guys know some stuff about Season 6. The most straightforward thing is the champions that are going to be included in Season 6. Season 6 is going to be a high dexterity season with 5 champions that were actually voted for by you, the fans, as part of the, I think, Season 3 mid-season survey. So they are going to be Narak. And we are actually doing some pretty big reworks to...
I definitely didn't mute you during that.
Oh, did you mute me during that? It's fine. They could hear... You guys could hear me through... Oh, God. Okay, so what did you guys hear? Did you hear any of that? Okay, so anyway, there are some champions. Dave doesn't care if you know what they are. Narak, Korth, Sisaspia, Warden, I'm watching you, and Zorbu are the 5 champions for Season 6. They're all high dexterity champions, and don't you do it. I see you on that. They're all high dexterity champions, and they're some of the champions that you guys voted on during the Season 3 mid-season survey. They are, that's going to be lots of fun. There's some really cool updates for those, for building high dexterity formations. But the thing that's really interesting about Season 6 is not necessarily the champions within it, but rather some of the other things we're trying for Season 6. So we're doing some experimentation with this season, and there's 2 kind of main things that we're experimenting with. One of them is a big one. We are going to be removing daily quests for Season 6. Yes, it's true. We're removing daily quests and redistributing most of that XP
into the hourly quests.
Into the seasonal... No. Shut up, you. This is why I'm the developer, and you're the developer-designer. Into the seasonal and milestone quests. So there won't be as much pressure to log in every day. And if you do log in every day and you were just logging in to do your daily quests, now you can log in and do something else. We will also be reducing the season length from 10 to 8 weeks because what we were seeing is kind of toward the end of seasons, people were just kind of done and getting bored with seasons. So we've reduced the length a little bit. To account for that, we've kind of moved around a little bit more XP stuff. So you can get the same total amount of XP you could get in previous seasons. It's just in 8 weeks now instead of 10 weeks. And there's a couple more seasonal quests per week to make up for that. And the last thing about Season 6 is that, OMG, it starts next week. As soon as Season 5 ends, next Wednesday, we'll be rolling right into Season 6. So that's the updates for Season 6.
Okay.
Let us move on to some questions from prior shows.
I'm sure they're going to love the hourly quests.
Don't do it, man.
Okay.
We'll try that for Season 7.
No. First question left over from the previous show, which was 3 weeks ago, right?
Yes, it was from our 100th episode 3 weeks ago.
We had Extra Life, and then I was away. Yeah. This is from Emperor Jakar. Will we see any new Modron cores soon?
Yes, actually, that's one thing that I left out of the spoilers for Season 6. There will be a Modron core, a dexterous Modron core, as part of that season that will be on the free track again. And it's going to be very good if you're running a high dexterity formation.
Okay. Next question. This is from Crazy Goatman 22. Any chance of having DM make a seat available rather than a single champion? Restarting over and over again to train on certain variants is just a grind, trying to get the champion that you want or need.
Yeah, this is a really good question, and is actually a something I think we were going to try and sneak this in for Season 6, even though DM is not part of Season 6. But I don't think it made it in, so I think we're pushing it to another update. But it is the plan to make it so Dungeon Master unlocks an entire seat worth of champions. Obviously, you can only use one of them at a time, instead of unlocking a single champion. So that instead of having like a 1 in 100 chance of getting the champion you want, it's a 1 in 11 chance of getting the champion you want. So that should make it a lot easier for DM to pick that seat and for you to be able to get the champion you want. Next question here is from Ratchapur. who asks, I often encounter a bug where background parties get their auto progress switched off at random places, even though they were running through multiple automatic resets. Would it be possible to switch the auto progress from the multi-party screen by clicking the progress button above the formation, instead of, I assume, having to go into the party and change it there?
I guess there's sort of two issues there, right? One is like, why is this happening in the first place if they were getting through multiple resets, which I don't have a good answer to off the top of my head. And then would it be possible to re-enable the auto progress from the multi-progress screen? I think we could probably do that. I can tag it so we can take a look at it. Sort of frustrating that something would stop after doing multiple resets, but I'd really like to know why that would be happening. But okay. Next, well, nope, looks like we're on to new questions from this week.
We are indeed.
All right, first question out of the gate is from Library of Akasha, asking, please make a system to convert excess Modron XP into something.
Yes, so this is something that we had a couple of really cool suggestions. I think they came in on other streams or maybe on Discord. That were relayed to the design team a couple of weeks ago, and I actually went through and came up with, I think, a pretty cool system for basically being able to prestige your Modron cores, level them up again, and get some benefits from that. So that is currently in design, I would say, and it's probably a couple of features down in terms of the to-do list here, but there is something in the works for that, for letting you level up those cores again, get some more chests out of them, and then get some other benefits as well. So something's in the works, but I can't say too much about it right now.
Okay. Look at that one. Oh, next question. This question here is from Emote. Yesterday, a bunch of people got thousands of gem hunters, and most of those were removed. But the people who used them, they were removed, still have the duration. Years worth for some. Are you going to do something, or you are going to do something about that, right?
Yeah, I was talking to Peter about this earlier today, and it sounds like we are going to try and shim that once the floodwaters recede, the metaphoric floodwaters recede from around the dev team. So yes, we will be. I think we'll be looking for anyone who has like more than a month or so of duration on those, and bumping that down or capping that out, because I don't think it's very likely that many people use like 5 of those potions all at once.
No.
So yeah. The next question is from Dark Drake 0210. Who asks, I wonder if you can add another way of logging into the game on iOS without using Game Center, because it would make it easier if Game Center is down. Thank you.
Yeah, now I think this question is, there's something going on right now with Game Center. I sort of heard bits and pieces of it from Peter. There's something to do with, I think he was saying that the new, like some of the iOS beta programs, something with, I think it was also, he was just theorizing what was going on, and it sounded like there might have been something where it was randomizing the data that they were giving us based on some sort of a new privacy setting. Certainly, like the accounts are tied to your Game Center ID right now. So if you change your Game Center ID, it does change the account that you're saving your data under. Which I guess in one way is a trick. If you wanted to have multiple accounts, you could change your Game Center ID. However, we don't have a good way on iOS outside of that to identify you, other than perhaps having like setting up an actual like login system where you like sign in with your email account on like Codename Games and then go through that. It is something that we could do if it turned out that this Game Center thing was going to, in the future, not provide us with a reliable ID. It's probably not something that we'll look into until that appears to be the case. I don't think running this for, what are we at, 7? We're into the 7th year.
We're in the 7th year,
that we've seen any sort of significant issues with Game Center being down. So that's not really something that we're super concerned about. But it would be a problem if they changed the way that actually functioned, so that we couldn't reliably identify you from that. That we would have to go to some sort of a sign-in system there. I imagine actually quite a few games that sort of do a similar thing to us, where they identify you via an account login. would suddenly be like, hey, what's the best way to do this now if Game Center stopped reliably returning a unique ID. So we'd also watch to see what their suggested solution to that was. But certainly doing a sign-in like an account does add a bunch of wrenches to the process, and then people start, then it becomes a thing where we have to deal with email recovery and other fun stuff on that. So we try to avoid that just to make a smoother process for logging in, but if we have to, then it'll be something that we would implement. Okay, next question. This is from the 22 Dragons. Any timeline on the new ways to equip retired champions that you were considering will drop? Will it be soon? I think it's a very important thing that now that time gates seem the only reliable way, and they take way too long, given chests to fully epic a retired champion. And fully epic is needed to use legendaries.
Yeah, this is something that we're we're spending a lot of time thinking about. We've got a couple of different ways that we might approach this. One way that we've kind of got spec'd out, that we're not sure if we're going to go, but we've got it spec'd out, is some pretty major revamps of how time gates work and how they award items or chests, and maybe making them just quite a bit more generous with the items in there. Another way is to maybe rethink a little bit how events work, and maybe go back to kind of the original year 3 event structure that lets you pull in older champions from previous events with time gate pieces into the event, so you can actually spend event currency on them. There's a couple of sort of different ways that we're thinking of dealing with this. So yeah, it's on the top of mind. We don't really have a final thought on exactly how we're going to do it yet, though.
Okay.
Next question here is from Gordis, who says, I am utterly incapable of reading the welcome back dialogue before clicking OK. I hear you, man. I actually do want the information, though. Could all the details from welcome back be put into the journal or something?
Well, I had an option so that you can't click the button for, like, just it grays out.
Even then, you're just going to be focused on that button.
Yeah.
You'll be like, I must hit the button.
It's certainly an option. I mean, there's no reason we couldn't add that information to the journal. Sort of thinking about what's displayed there. I guess it could be sort of aggregated into a sentence. I'm not sure.
Just be displayed. I mean,
if we have the click it, it pops the dialogue back up.
No. I was thinking like we just fit it in. Like it's almost about the same width kind of thing.
There's quite a bit of stuff on the welcome back dialogue, though.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Well, it's
versus
you could stretch it out.
I think
even if it took like, I mean, the journal doesn't have to have like, it doesn't have to fit like 6 or 7 welcome back screens on it. You know, you can just have one welcome back screen and like 2 area, and then you scroll past it kind of stuff.
Journal items allowed to be different sizes. I don't think they might be
okay, well, if that's a requirement of the journal,
no,
then
I mean,
yes.
I do think it's a good idea. It's a good suggestion. It's not something that is probably top of the priority list, but it's definitely something that we could consider.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The next question is from Aspilla357, who asks, has there been progress saving issues on the Android platform over the past couple of days? Force save and quit doesn't work. If I restart the game, I've lost some progress, but force save works for a while and then it happens again. This was only on Android, and Epic has been okay. I've just submitted a ticket on it.
I mean, we did just last week roll out the first Android build using the updated version of Unity that we were forced to use, so that we could use the updated version of the Android APK or SDK that we were forced to use because Android was no longer allowing payments through the older version. So this sort of cascading issue resulted in us having to upgrade what was being built with, and that has had a few unintended consequences. I know Peter was working through an issue last week in regards to the game just not loading. People were getting a black screen, which actually, believe it or not, had something to do with the text rendering. And this was only happening to players who were on non-English platforms. So it was a bit of a tricky bit for him to sort out or track down. And so it's likely, if there's something happening here with the save, that's related to this new build. So I will tag that and just bring it to Peter's attention, because it does seem like there may be a few sort of non-obvious issues with that new build, just because it's gone up several Unity versions, and they change a few things here and there. And there's always unexpected consequences. So we'll take a look at that. Okay, next question. This is from Jornathus. I think so. We're going with that. My Mert Ruby coins from FP Free Play is at 4,000 out of 5,000, and my current Mert campaign tooltip on the Complete Adventure button says that I have earned 950, a plus 95 bonus. That is clearly more than the 5,000 total. Shouldn't it say at weekly cap when the earned bonus is greater than 5,000? When I completed the campaign, I was awarded 1,000 coins, not the 950 plus 95.
Yeah, it does sound like there's some sort of visual error there, but it sounds like you got the right number of coins. So yeah, it sounds like it's probably some sort of visual glitch where it's because it should cap out with the bonus, with the 10% bonus. It should cap out like what, around like 909 or so, 910 plus a 90 or 91 bonus. So yeah, there's clearly some sort of issue there. But it is display only, since the cap still remains at 5,000, and you got your 1,000 coins bringing you up to the cap rather than going over the cap. So we can flag that for someone to look at and see why it's displaying incorrectly, and then get that fixed up. But it looks like functionally nothing is wrong there. Next question is from Aspilla357, who asks, for tiered quests in the quest tracker, can we have the next one auto-load if the current one finishes? I thought we did that.
That's a good question, if we did that or not. But if we don't, that is a good suggestion.
Yes, it should
It seems
absolutely
extremely
do that.
Sensible,
Yeah.
and I don't know why it doesn't do that if it doesn't do that.
I feel like we did that for some of the quests, but maybe we don't. Maybe it's just these new ones don't. I'm not sure.
Is there a type of quest from a...
I think it does that for milestones automatically, doesn't it? Chat can kind of... But it's just the new bonus quests maybe that don't do that, because the kind of way that they tier is a little bit different from how milestones do.
That's what I was going to ask.
I bet
Is
it's
there a difference in the data there?
They're
strung together in a different way?
Yeah, they are strung together slightly differently because of the way that you can skip ahead and start a chain of quests like 15 tiers in. So yeah,
Right,
yeah,
it probably doesn't recognize that they're connected.
Yeah, that sounds like something that should be relatively easy to fix.
All right, next question. This one is from OG17. And OG17 asks, can Briv get a +2 wisdom feat so wisdom trials aren't a slog? Doesn't feel like the goal of restrictions is to make bad luck vastly increase time required each day.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we can think about. I will use this opportunity to talk about how our sort of rework to trials is kind of the next major thing that we currently have planned, after the collections dialogue and the guide quests and stuff come out. So yeah, I'm not sure if this one would be a priority to get in, because I assume that after we rework trials and it doesn't necessarily have that wisdom restriction, that a +2 feat on wisdom feat on Briv might not be quite as challenging.
Did you mispronounce trials as twiles?
Twiles? Yeah.
Okay.
Wascally wabbits.
Okay, next question. This is from Fewer Pills. Can we get back our 50 years of Gem Hunter potions? Just kidding. The real question is, how did this happen? Do you have any idea? I didn't even have one active.
Huh, that's interesting that it happened when you didn't have one active. So yeah, I asked Peter about this morning, because I was working from home yesterday, and there was all this stuff going on in Modons. I'm like, what is going on there? But yeah, my understanding of why this happened is in the new campaign, at the end of the first adventure, a thing happens, and as a spoiler happens. And as part of that spoiler, we had a system that would refund potions that you had used during the adventure, or that you still had active during the adventure. And I guess the way that worked is it wasn't really sure exactly how many potions you would use, because if you used, say, like 5 large potions, you would have like 5 hours worth of large potions active. And so it would sort of divide that through and give you back 5 large potions. But with the week-long potions, I guess it wasn't quite coded to understand how long week-long potions were supposed to last. So it took the week of duration that you had left and divided it through by some number and said, oh, looks like you should get 2,000 of these week-long potions back, because that's how many you used on this adventure. Obviously, that was not correct and didn't get caught in QA, and so that is what happened there. And so we took those potions back. I think we got that fixed pretty quickly. And there's some of the duration stuff that I think Emote mentioned earlier that we will need to address as soon as we have time to do so.
Okay, where are we at up here? All right, next question. This one is from OG17. Ashara had centers placed in her potpourri bond, despite them clearly belonging in half and half. Will this be fixed in Idle Champions 2? Wait, there's an Idle Champions 2?
Shh, don't talk about that. Yes, that does seem like it really should be in half and half. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to some people about that and see what the implications would be of moving that around.
No.
Yeah, that's a funny point.
Yeah. Okay.
Next question is from Emote, and it's for you.
Okay.
Because I don't know what's going on here. Emote asks, so it's becoming clear that removing the spoiler skins from the definitions isn't helping you against the scourge that is Jim.
Uh-huh.
You're still adding some soon-to-be added skins, and they're being shown when Jim uses his magic abilities. Can you please fix Jim so he doesn't show skins with dates later than now, so that you can add all the spoiler skins back?
I don't know how that was implemented, or who did it, or why. Well, I mean, I guess I know why. That's a good question. I wonder if it would work better to do it the other way around. Like, those skins actually have a date on them in the data? I feel like they don't
think they do.
Yeah, and that's probably why. I mean, certainly we could do it the other way around and have just a whitelist of skins and then add them to it as they come out, but then we'd end up with this less spoilers and more, hey, how come this skin isn't randomly showing up?
I think we added dates onto the skins, but the tool that is used to add them into the game doesn't support that, doesn't include that. So there's something that needs to be looked at for this. Oh my, look at all these questions.
Next question. This one is from Garwar. Garwar asks, why is the global blessing on the new campaign 100% when the... Oh, Sean's got his thing in front and I can't read through it. No.
I'm going to put my cursor there too, so you can't read it.
Yep, okay, cool. Let's go. Garwar asks, why is the global blessing on the new campaign 100% when the Tier 1 global in the prior campaign was 200%? Yeah, Justin, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You taking a whole 100% away from them?
Yeah, so I looked at this, and it's actually the other way around. The Tier 1 global in the prior campaign wasn't supposed to be 200%, and I honestly have no idea why it is. In the design documents, it's 100%, just like all the other ones, but for some reason it got added into the game as 200%.
Well, you know what you should do?
What should I do?
You should fix that.
I should fix that. I should not fix the strong core node, and I should just fix all the things that are beneficial for players.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
In fact, I think because they've had it at 200 for as long as they have, we should bump it down to 50 for the next.
That's right, and then it'll average out. God, you're so smart. Anyway, this is why I'm designer / developer, and he's developer / designer. What? Okay, it's going to do a giveaway after this question. Sean, you need to tell us what the phrase is. Who's typing this stuff? Anyway.
Oh, Mars is typing that.
Okay.
Yep, okay. Hi,
So, okay. Whoa, spoilers.
Oh, Loadex. Index. Windex.
Okay, so it's time for our world famous-ish 42 gold chest giveaway. I guess they don't have to be gold chests. 42 chest giveaway. The way this works is all you have to do is sort of type the secret password into chat, and you'll be entered into a draw to win 42 chests of your choice. The keyword is now there in chat. I can see.
You know, they don't actually have to type it. They can copy and paste it.
You can copy and paste it. I suppose you could dictate it if you had some sort of dictating software on the device that you're watching this on.
I don't think it would. Yeah. It's a weird word. It's probably not in the dictionary.
Yeah. Anyway, if you do that, you'll be entered into the draw. If you win the draw, you'll be able to pick a type of chest that exists in the game, and our lovely moderators will add 42 of those chests to your account. It can be any type of chest that exists in the game, except for chests that are not released, or chests that the Gloria Bahamut chest.
Clairvoyant admin chest.
You can't
think what you want, and you open it. It's in it.
Yeah.
Works every time.
Yeah. Yes. You can't. I guess you wouldn't also be able. You wouldn't be able to pick season 6 chests because they're probably in the game, but you can't. You can't do them. So yeah. Good luck to everyone on that.
Season 6, the joy of decks. Oh dear.
Let's move on to some new questions.
Next question is from Emperor Jakar. What is the design theory behind the new adventure? Will there be a new evergreen champion to unlock it at some point in the near future?
Yeah, so every one of our campaigns generally has at least one evergreen champion, and the Turn of Fortune's Wheel campaign is no exception. We are planning to do a evergreen champion for that campaign, and we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure what you're referring to with the design theory behind the new adventure. We did make the new adventure drop a lot less gold because we were seeing a lot of players, kind of not just late game players, but also early game players, able to reach very high areas on their first run with no favor. And we thought that that's no fun if nothing's ever a challenge. And so we dropped down the gold so that folks would maybe have to reset 1 or 2 times and farm some favor before they're able to just get to area 1000 with very little effort.
So you made the campaign more difficult.
That is true. I made the campaign more difficult.
In the name of making it more fun.
In the name of making it more fun.
Because difficult things are fun.
Yes.
Cool. I was just checking.
Yes.
Checks out.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. This comes from Maniac Clown.
Oh, this is a good question for you.
All right, well, then you can ask.
Maniac Clown says, speaking of potions, I don't know when we were speaking of potions, but I guess we were speaking of potions. Have you considered adding the ability to save a potion loadout? When I start a new run, I use 1 huge, 3 large, and 12 medium of strength, clairvoyance, and heroism, and a huge and 3 large of speed. I'd like to be able to click 1 button to do all that.
It sounds like a takeout order.
Yeah, it does. Would you like fries with that?
I'd like 3 large and 1 double-double, 12 medium strength. Hold the... What do you hold?
Ketchup?
Ketchup.
Tomatoes?
Cream? In your potion? Don't put ketchup in your potion. Yeah, I mean, that's an idea. Trying to picture it now.
I'm not
that actually would help.
I'm not entirely sure how you would do that, but
I wonder if that would help solve the Modron multiple potion use.
If you could just have a loadout.
You design a loadout and then
you just say use this
use
loadout in this area. Yeah. I don't mind that idea.
It's a thought.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, next question is from Fewer Pills. Sasaspia only has 13 decks. Change incoming?
Yes. Sasaspia will be getting a little bit more decks. I think we stole a stat point or 2 from some other places that...
Someone else?
Yeah, from other champions.
From other champions.
Yeah, we've made Briv's stats lower, and Sasaspia gets some stats. No. Yeah, so we shifted a little bit of stuff
Delina,
around
right?
there. No. Poor Delina. We did increase Sasaspia's decks to make her fit.
Okay, good. Next question is from Crazy Goatman 22. Have you talked about removing the favor cost to upgrading legendary items? Are there any further thoughts on this happening?
Yeah, so this is still something that we're thinking probably makes sense The favor costs will be the thing we'll be removing, and not necessarily the favor requirements. We still like the favor requirements because they require you to grind some favor in campaigns to get kind of the highest level legendaries. And so, yeah, we would be removing the favor costs. So every time you upgrade, it costs 1 order of magnitude of favor, and we would be getting rid of that. And that's still something that we're thinking will probably happen. We just need to find time to slot it into the cycles, to the dev cycle.
Someone in the chat said that just asked people getting yoga lessons. I guess that sounds like a spec choice that you could do.
Yeah, I don't think Sasaspia would enjoy yoga. Just she doesn't seem like the type of person that would really enjoy yoga. She'd be the one kind of glaring from the back of the class because someone like forced her to go to yoga.
What about Pilates?
No, jazzercise though. I think she'd be into jazzercise.
I don't know where to follow from that.
How about with the next question?
Sure, from Emperor Jakar. When do we make Jakar Emperor? I don't know about that. Will we still be able to get 120 levels in a season as a regular player? Were their gold quests lowered? They seem rather high compared to other quests. The gold quests. The gold,
yes, the gold bonus quests. We did lower the gold bonus quests the second time that they appeared in this season. And I think we're going to maintain that moving forward. I think the highest one was E to the 500 the first time it popped up, and we lowered that down to E to the 360. It might still be too high, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. As for how many levels you'll be able to get in a season for a regular player, for Season 6, I think the math worked out to if you do all the seasonals and the milestones, you get around level 80 or so. And if you do the bonus quests on top of that, I think you can get to 130 or so. So it's a little bit higher than Season 5 in terms of the total XP from both the seasonal, or from the sort of base quests and the bonus quests. But it's, so a little bit higher.
Okay, next question. This is from Canelian, asking, does changing the seasons from 10 weeks to 8 weeks mean even more seasons per year, or are we having breaks between them again?
Yeah, we're not planning on having breaks between our seasons right now, but that's something that could change on a season-to-season basis. Some of the stuff that sort of determines when seasons start is sort of when we get when we can finagle some promotion platforms, or platform promotions. I said the right words, just not in the right order. So
promotion platforms are like when you get those shoes on a discount.
Yes.
And they're
yes.
Yeah.
So when we can get our discount platform shoes, that's when seasons start. But yeah, so the plan right now is to continue to have seasons back to back, and just play around with sort of the duration in there, and yeah, it's based off of sort of external factors as well.
Okay.
The next question is from Library of Akasha, who asks, so currently for the season bonus gacha, you can either open 1 at a time or 5 at a time.
That's true.
Where's the times 2, 3, and 4? Kind of annoying where if you don't have 5, you can only open 1 at a time.
That's true. The 2, 3, and 4 are not on there. They just didn't fit in the design nicely.
I feel like that screen could use some love.
That screen is a little plain. It's a little on the plain side. I know that was largely because it was sort of it was a last minute shift in the way that was being adjusted. So that screen got put in under fairly short notice. I'm not super worried about having to click that 4 times instead of once. Sort of in the worst case scenario there for the 4 times one. We didn't want to put 4 buttons, and we weren't really the slider didn't fit nicely. Yeah, I mean, in general, the screen could use some improvements, but probably not a individual version of each button there. Next question. This one is from Fewer Pills, asking, in Season 6, will we actually have replacement bonus quests for players who have done the specific task already? Note, by replacement, not additional quests that you get once you do the normal task. Like we had 10K areas with Kent after doing Kent's event year 100%.
Yeah, so we tried to fit as many of those into sort of the Season 5 set of bonus quests as we could. And the plan for Season 6 is that any quest that could potentially have been done before will have
like an
alternative quests.
Yeah.
So an example is for the event that kind of starts with the season next week. There will be sort of complete year 6 of that event to 100%, and if you did that last year, you'll get one to, I think, like get that champion to full epic. And if you had also done that already, then I think you get one to use that champion in an adventure in some way. So there will be a quest sort of no matter where you are in kind of the grind through completing that event, completing that champion's equipment loadout, and using that champion. And that is the plan kind of moving forward, so that no matter where you are in the game, sort of a very similar amount of XP will be available to you, and a similar number of quests will be available to you on the bonus quests. The next question here is from Bozinius, or Bozinius? Bozinius?
Bozinius Maximus.
Yeah. Who asks, I appreciate the increased opening blacksmithing contracts, but when will the bounty contracts be increased? I love it. We increased chest opening, and then people wanted increased blacksmith opening, and now increased bounty contract opening. Once we do them all, it'll just loop back around.
Yeah, I mean, it's because too many things drop for the bounty contracts, right? We need a quicker picker up. No, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, you kind of did.
Joke.
Yeah.
It's a good question. Soon, TM?
Yeah.
I'll tag it. It does need to get done. All right. Next question is from an R Green Paradox. What effect will D&D 1 have on Idle Champions? 2024 is only 60 days away. Is that true?
That can't possibly be true.
It looks like it probably is
Oh
true.
my
It's
goodness.
totally true.
Where does time go? Yeah, so the answer, no real effect on Idle Champions 1.
There's no Idle Champions 2, Justin. I don't know who made that up earlier.
Yeah, I don't think D&D 1 will have any effect on Idle Champions. I mean, Idle Champions is set in the D&D universe. It doesn't necessarily follow the kind of the D&D like game rules, tabletop rules exactly the same.
What are you talking about?
I don't
That's
know
how I learned all my exponential math, was playing D&D tabletop.
I don't know if anyone has noticed, but 20-ish is about the max level in D&D tabletop. Our champions go a little bit higher than that. So yeah, I don't think we'll see any real effects from that. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 things that we might kind of pull into it, or pull into champions from it, but those would be kind of over time and not like an immediate, like we're making major changes to how the game functions.
Okay, next question. This one is from Ratazato. Ratozato. Yeah, good. Easier than it looked. Can we have Fenn's Patron Challenge Progress Booster work like Strongheart's Season Progress Booster? That patron-themed mission glaringly brought up the issue of Seat 6, which is Ashara, Shandy, Sergeant Knox, Krond, Krull, Dungeon Master, Evelyn, and Alindra. Grinding that speedy progress to a halt. I understand there's some RNG in which champions are picked for the mandatory bud setter, and thus these three in the party, but pulling Ashara as a high count requirement on 2 people dragged that out and made it not fun.
Yeah, so we have talked about making Fenn's patron challenge progress thing work like Stronghearts does, where if you just have her in a party, it will apply to all parties, and that is something that's still on the to-do list, and is something that we'll get in again once we can find the development time. I think we should start to see some of that time free up as we started to get through some of the higher priority items over the past little bit. Like, for example, the season. Every time we do a season, we have a bunch of work to do for that. So we just finished the season 7 build lock, so we're pretty close.
Sure.
I don't know. We finish build locks, and then we get a little bit of time to kind of work on other stuff before the next season comes about.
Okay, next question. This is from Max I. Cubert. Are you happy with the new campaign balance?
Yeah, so we did change, as I mentioned before, we changed sort of the gold curve for Turn of Fortune's Wheel in an attempt to add a little bit of challenge back into the game. And I think in general, I'm happy that there is more challenge there. I'm not 100% sure that we got the balance exactly right, whether we're dropping too little gold or too much gold. We tried to kind of err on the side of too little gold so that it's easier to increase the gold drop rates as opposed to lower them. Yeah, I'm generally happy with that approach because I think it'll just make the adventures and the variants, especially once we start to get up into the later variants, just more challenging and more interesting, rather than them being just kind of a grind that you just have to get through. We want them to be something you actually have to think about and maybe grind a little bit of favor or get some equipment on some champions you don't normally use, rather than kind of how it is in previous campaigns where you get to a certain favor amount and then you just kind of click your way through everything.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to just blow your way through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no fun. I don't think it's fun. Some people might think it's fun, but I think on a whole, it's more fun to have a bit of a challenge there.
Yeah, and then you don't get through the content immediately either, too, because otherwise you finish it and then you got nothing. Mm-hmm. You have to just wait for the next bit. Yeah. So, all right.
Next question is from RobMeister32, who asks, can we have the ability to assign default familiars to champions so we do not have to keep reassigning them? Also, they get to take that familiar with them wherever they go, like when they switch parties.
It's sort of an interesting thought, but it does feel like there'd be some issues with that in terms of, like, if you grabbed that familiar and you put it on someone else, or you
just wouldn't be available for that champion.
Yeah, like if that champion wasn't unlocked yet, but it had, that familiar assigned to it, and then you dragged a familiar out, that particular familiar out to, onto the main, into the formation. Wow, got a total slip up. Then when you pulled that champion out, they wouldn't have that familiar with them anymore.
Yeah, it's and if we didn't do something like that, you could get into a situation where there were kind of locked familiar, like they were assigned to someone who wasn't unlocked and you couldn't use them, which would obviously not be ideal at all, because you could very easily lose familiars if you assign them to someone that you only use occasionally, and then that person isn't in an active bench slot and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of caveats with that. I'm not sure that it would work as well as one would hope.
Mm-hmm. Seems like there's some comments going on here about our friends the Countertop people who live right behind the tavern here.
Yes, Colonial Countertops.
Colonial Countertops.
Shout out to them. Their granite.
Apologies to anyone from Colonial Countertops. Anyway, yes, there's a company who works. Maybe some of them live. They basically have a warehouse right behind our tavern, and it's actually shaking the camera today. Yeah, well, the camera it's attached to a wall, so the whole building is probably just shaking. Or it could be P waves from the Cascadia subduction mega earthquake, and we're all about to die.
That escalated really quickly.
Fingers crossed.
Let's not have
Hopefully
that.
it's just the Countertop people. Uh-oh. Look out. Your mic pack and your microphone. See, that's going to cause even more audio issues.
Yeah. All right. Well, next question then, before we get too much into that. This is from Longtime Lurker. Question: how do you decide whether a boss will have a regular, segmented, or armored health bar?
That's a good question. So I don't actually do that part of the design anymore. So, my voice just getting really. My voice is just about to cut off. Good thing the stream's about to be end. From the earthquake, not because it's almost 3 o'clock. But yeah, I think we kind of try and make, the more trivial monsters, or bosses, more the regular kind, and then ones that we want to that have cool abilities or that we want to stay on the screen for a little bit longer. We make those the segmented or armored health ones. Armored health we try to reserve for ones that are these are the bosses. These are the ones that are the big bads for the adventure. I don't know if we've been kind of overusing that or not lately, but yeah, certainly the segmented and armor health especially are the toughest ones. Segmented health, depending on who you've got in your formation, can actually be more trivial. Generally are more trivial than the regular bosses because you don't necessarily need a lot of DPS to defeat them. You just need a lot of hits. So, yeah, that's kind of the structure that I used when I was designing the adventures, and I assume that we've continued to do that as we move forward.
I mean, really, it was a question of how many tickets did you want to get about the armored, being bugged because they took no damage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I see a comment in the chat here from the lurking writer saying all we need is a cat or two to make this really an official C&E stream since we've already had audio tech issues. I don't think anyone's ever brought their cat to the office, but we have a few dogs on the regular.
Yeah, we have some office dogs every once in a while. Some office doges.
Yes. Next question. Let's see, what do we got here? This is from Gary ____. With seasons being moved to 8 weeks instead of 10, will the dismantle events at the beginning still be 3 weeks, or will those be reduced as well?
Currently, the plan is to still keep them 3 weeks. I haven't heard anything about changing the duration of those. Yeah. So, yeah, that is still the plan.
Rodents of unusual size. Let's see. Question: ketchup potions when, Justin?
Maybe as part of the alchemist rework.
I mean, I think if we spelt them differently, they might. Ketchup potions instead of ketchup potions?
Oh, ketchup. Yeah.
I don't know what they catch you up on, but...
Yeah, they give you a season progress.
Perfect. Confirmed. You heard it here. Ketchup potions. Next question. This is from Adam DC78. Will legendaries require reduced amounts of favor to advance from the campaign? E30 in the new campaign isn't the same as E30 in others, for instance.
Yeah, so we've held off adding the Fortune's Favor as a potential requirement for legendaries for precisely this reason. I do think that sort of, so the thing we found in our testing for progress in the new campaign is that the formations that worked for getting a whole bunch of favor in previous campaigns don't work quite as well for getting a bunch of favor in the new campaigns. But there are formations that work quite well for getting a whole bunch of favor. And so we're kind of waiting to see how the community does and kind of figuring out what the best approaches are to playing through the Turn of Fortune's Wheel campaign. And if it turns out that people sort of figure out more optimal ways and we start to see that average favor moving up, then it's possible we could add Fortune's Favor as a legendary requirement. I think even having it sort of very hard to come by naturally in the campaign, it kind of provides more value to event conversion, time gate conversion, season conversion, etc., which are good ways to bump up favor, but sort of my understanding of how sort of end-game, mid-game players use them right now is you just click the first one and try and close the window as fast as you can because it doesn't actually matter. So I think having it matter for Fortune's Favor and having Fortune's Favor be a really valuable place to convert those favors into could be quite powerful in terms of just a game strategy and a thing so that favor conversion has a point again.
Okay. It looks like this is the last question.
The last question from the lurking writer. And they ask, currently there are still flashing animations even in the game, even after using the setting to disable them. Could you explain if this is intentional or not? If yes, then why? And is there any chance you can allow the settings to apply to these stragglers? Examples being when you open a chest or when a particular rarity of item card is displayed.
Yeah, I mean, so this is kind of an interesting question, and it's also kind of a little bit of a loaded question, I think. So most of the time, like, so there's this early on when people requested that, hey, there's certain flashing effects in the game that they wanted to be removed, typically because they found that they were irritating, or it always comes up in this sort of like, if you've got some sort of epileptic response, that this could be a concern. And lots of games, of course, have big warnings on them that say, hey, if you have any kind of medical condition like this, consult your doctor or don't play, or whatever makes the most sense for you. But what we found is that there are a lot of these things in here. So it's not, we don't remove these for a medical reason. We remove these because it's more of a individual preference of, like, some people just find them irritating, to see sort of the flashing items. In general, we've tried to get most of sort of the rapid flashing ones, especially when the game speed gets turned up. But not all of them are as easy to turn off as like a code type flash. Some of them are built right into the animations. And so we haven't done, duplicate animations for some of them, just because they're not really high occurrence items. So, I mean, I think for some of those, if we really got a lot of response from players that they really wanted to be able to turn that off, it's something that we would consider. But for most of them, because they're sort of low frequency items, they're not affected by sort of the speed. They're not really there for a medical purpose. They get a low priority setting for that. That makes sense to you, Justin?
Yeah, I think that there's different sort of challenges. I think if there's something that's really standing out to you as being obnoxious when it flashes, then, like, by all means open a ticket and sort of tag us in it, and we can take a look and see if it's something that is possible or straightforward to pull out. Yeah,
I know, like, the chest one is actually just like in the animation itself. So yeah. All right. I think that's all we've got time for.
That is all we have time for. If we didn't get to your question this week, do not fret. You will have another opportunity. We are planning to be live right here again with our buddies, the Stonecutters, next week. And we will answer your questions then. Before we sign off, though, we'd like to thank our tireless mods. This week it was Sean and Mars. They're the two folks who copy your questions into our questions doc and help to make things awesome in chat. So thanks to both of you.
And of course, thanks to all of you for hanging out, watching the stream, enjoying the game, and for asking such great questions. Because without you, no one here would get to do what they do.
And we like what we do. Sorry, I was looking into the eyes of the thing I drew under the camera, and it's just very distracting.
All right. That's it. That's enough.
Bye, everyone. Is it done? Are we gone?
Oh, no, we have to do a joke.
What? No,
we always do a joke.
I thought by changing the overlay we wouldn't have to do a joke. Oh, okay.
So, you know that a shark can swim faster than a human.
Mm-hmm.
But a human can run faster than a shark.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that in a triathlon, it comes down to who is the better cyclist.
It's funny. We did this joke. Dexter did this joke one day, and we had literally like a 3-hour debate in the office about whether it matters, because the shark isn't going to be able to get from the start line to the anyway.
They're going to eat the human. Is that what?
No, I think it's just going to sit there on the start line and just go flip, 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 and then all the humans are going to run into the water and swim.
I'm glad I missed that.
Anyway, yeah, it was